note that the FRA passed by a huge bipartisan majority in the House and the Senate, and President Biden signed that, and it is effective immediately. So I would hope this will be a #1 priority for you and the other federal agencies to implement these laws, and that we would see the benefits happening immediately. Also, you've talked about scientific evidence a lot in your testimony and in the questioning. Yet I find it discouraging that, along with science goes math. And let's look at electric vehicles. There's been a lot of talk about EVs. In the justification for CEQ's actions on EVs, what would it lower greenhouse gas emissions if we could make every passenger car and light-duty vehicle in America an EV overnight? Do you have those numbers?
I don't.
Do you have a general feel for it?
Someone does. I can circle back with you on any numbers.
I would like to see those numbers, because if you do the math, it's actually less than 1%. And I would gladly accept the challenge to that number if you have different numbers. Also, CEQ, in a report that the Forest Service and the BLM released, complying with an executive order from the White House, the agency stated that, quote, "The role of place attachment or identity, meaning the symbolic importance of a place, is a repository for emotions and relationships that give meaning and purpose to life, may also be particularly relevant in our understanding of how people relate to and value old-growth forest." If that sounded confusing to you, welcome to the party, because I can't understand what that means. I asked Chief Moore what it meant in a hearing, and I don't think he understood what it means. And can you tell me in 30 seconds, just summary, what is old growth?
I think old growth are the oldest forests and oldest trees that we have in this country, and there is a range of timelines that people use to refer to that.
Was that defined in this report?
I actually don't know the report you're talking about.
Old growth, which it has no relevance or meaning unless you're talking about a specific forest type. And even then, it's questionable as to what old growth is. How much input does CEQ have with our federal land agencies on the actual management on the ground? Because to me, this is very confusing directives that come out in reports like this that leave federal land managers in a quandary. And we've seen a exponential increase in forest fires. We've lost 20% of our giant sequoia trees to catastrophic wildfire. And if you look at a climate perspective, forests are, I've said this over and over, they're the largest scale, most economical, quickest way to remove carbon from the atmosphere, far exceeding any kind of technology that's been invented yet. We seem to be implementing policies that are causing our forests to burn even faster than they've burned in the past. So I'll give you a chance to respond to what CEQ is doing, working with our federal land agencies to actually make our forests more healthy and resilient, which also means not only clean air, but clean water, better wildlife habitat, and a lot of access for recreational opportunities for the American public.
Thank you for that. And I guess I would just start off by saying, that we look at all of the work that's going on in terms of the climate change and addressing climate change as being important. So no one activity, not just the electric vehicles, it all has to be taken together. And on the forest, I guess what I would say is that the partnership that exists across the federal government between CEQ and the other agencies is designed to kind of help with addressing some of the overall issues and challenges. We have actual sector groups or task forces that are actually looking at wildfires as a really important, one of the really important areas where we have to have coordinated management on how we're addressing that. And also recognize it as actually one of the significant areas that needing attention. We've had work that the agencies have been doing to try to actually make sure we have the support for addressing the wildfires that are occurring, and that we have actually different categorical exclusions that are in place to actually help with the management area. So I think we recognize it as being one of our big challenges. It's obviously one that is having a significant impact on not only on the ecosystem, but on all of the communities that are so close and affected by that. And I think that is part of trying to make sure that we have the tools necessary for the agencies to address the problems.
And I would just point out that recognizing and doing are two different things. And policies like this old growth policy, policies on locking up more federal lands, policies like the Chaco Canyon withdrawal, these are not helping management in any form or fashion. And again, I thank you for your testimony today, and I thank the members for their questions. The members of the committee may have some additional questions, me included, for the witness, and we will ask you to respond to these in writing. Under Committee Rule 3, members of the committee must submit questions to the committee clerk by 5 p.m. on June 27th. The hearing record will be held open for 10 business days for these responses. If there is no further business, without objection, the committee stands adjourned.